HubSpot TV. It's November 19th, 2010, and we're coming to you live from Cambridge, Massachusetts. This is a good audience. They're excited.
It is. They're very excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Karen Rubin.
I'm Mike Volpe. We're joined this week with a very special guest, Jeff Ogden.
Welcome.
Also
Thanks for
known as the Fearless Competitor.
Thank you.
For those of you watching live, the hashtag is HubSpot TV. You can include that in your tweets, and we might incorporate them into the show.
Say funny things. We like it.
That's exactly right. All the old episodes are on iTunes.
Yes.
If you like the show, we like 5-star reviews.
Lots of them.
Yep.
And next week's the holiday, Thanksgiving.
I know.
I
in the
love
States
Thanksgiving.
anyways.
Lots of turkey right here in the
We
States
do have a lot of
anyway.
international viewers.
It does mean the show's going to be Tuesday at 4 p.m. I'm
Yep.
glad you decided that.
Oh, I thought you put that in here.
Oh, no,
No.
I didn't.
All right, well.
Someone decided we're taping
All right.
Tuesday at 4,
Apparently,
so...
watch us on Twitter. We'll tell you what it really is,
Yeah.
but it might be Tuesday
It
at
might
4.
be Tuesday at 4.
Yeah.
Good chance.
Awesome. And anyone's welcome to come by the studio audience. In fact, today we have, 20-ish MBA students from Cornell who are in the audience.
The nicest dressed people
guys can clap for
in the
yourselves.
office.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome.
In fact,
Lots of dark suits.
our entire board of directors is here today in the boardroom, and
Yes.
nobody in the board meeting is dressed as nicely as the students from
No,
Cornell.
I know. Yeah. The board doesn't have to dress nice because they give us money.
Right. But
They're not trying to impress
our
us.
CEO's not even dressed nice for them.
That's also true.
So anyway, Jeff, you're a marketing consultant and strategist at fearlesscompetitor.net, and you have your sign. Come on, get with it, Mike. You're
Yes.
a huge fan of inbound marketing, right? But
Yes, I am.
You have a different twist you like to put on it. Is it for companies or people or both, and how does it work?
Well, one of the things I'm a firm believer in, inbound marketing is really for everyone. There was a book that was done recently by, actually this book, Get Back to Work Faster for Professionals, and it's by Jill Conrath of Selling to Big Companies. And actually I'm profiled in this book extensively. And it really talks about a job seeker having a strong LinkedIn profile, writing a blog to show that you're a thought leader in the industry, having a website that talks about your accomplishments and really is, and so that when people are looking for quality people,
Right.
they find you. So it's not just for companies, it's for actual job seekers too.
Yeah.
Because, blasting out resumes just doesn't work very well.
It absolutely doesn't.
So tell us, maybe for somebody who is looking to get a new job or maybe to change jobs, what are a couple of the tips from the book or from your experience that you would recommend to people?
Well, I think one of the key things in there is a professional website like LinkedIn is a great place to start. You should have a very complete profile. You should get a lot of recommendations on LinkedIn. One of the best ways to get recommendations on LinkedIn is to write recommendations for other people. You start writing them for other people, they're more than happy to give them back to you. I have 37, so yes, it can be done. So yes, and make a lot of connections. You can research people through the people search on there. You can connect to a lot of people.
Yep.
So there's a lot of techniques, but I think LinkedIn is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And you're really sort of embracing inbound marketing a ton because you're a very prolific content creator. I don't know how many blog articles you've written or social media things, or you do lots of videos. You do all sorts of things. How do you do it all? I mean, you do create tons of content and in many, many different formats.
Yeah, I think the key is you just have to be passionate about it. I think
Yeah.
passion more than is the single most important ingredient. That if you just really believe in it and you're just constantly, I always say if you want to create content, you're looking for content everywhere. A show on TV, a conversation you had with someone. You're always looking for content ideas. And that's the key to creating a lot.
Got it.
I'm always, when I read a lot of blogs. I don't actually write a lot of blogs, but I read a lot of blogs. And it's always pulling things out of conferences people went to, other blogs you've read, TV shows. I think that's exactly it. It's looking around your life and figuring in the interesting things and the connections that they make, and then sharing that with other people. It's a good way to try and create content.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Go ahead. You can ask this one, yeah.
You also you told us earlier that you ran into some trouble with your domain recently and got stolen. Tell us about that. Like, what happened and how did you deal with it?
Well, it was a challenge. I went to work for a small software company down in Florida, and because my domains of Fearless Competitor and Find New Customers were so popular, they wanted to get the traffic. So they talked me into selling the domains to them. Well, it turns out they ran into some financial problems, things didn't work out, and I left, and being a trusting soul, I didn't put anything into the agreement. Then on August 3rd of this year, they contacted me and said they were going to repurpose those domains. I still could do things with them. I just couldn't, change certain things. And on August 3rd of this year, everything just shut off. The blog stopped working, the web stopped working, email stopped working, everything. So I had to get a new domain. I had to do everything and start over.
Yeah.
So.
That's tough.
And now, but in that time since then, I know you're a big advocate of website grader, and you use that as one of the metrics that you track. So how have you done in terms of your website grade and other metrics since you relaunched, basically, with new websites?
I check my grade regularly in Website Grader. The old website was a 99, and after I had to start over, I dropped to a 49. 90 days later, today, we're at a 97.
That's great. Congratulations.
That's pretty good.
Did you lose all your content with that too?
No,
Okay,
because I
that's
use a
good.
marketing automation system. I didn't lose the content.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's good.
Cool.
That'd be tough if you lost all your content. That'd be rough.
Fantastic.
All
So
right.
let's move over to headlines. But before actually we do that, we do have actually somebody wrote in. So Ports Foursquare, which is the Portsmouth Foursquare group,
All right.
asked HubSpot TV, did you know we raised $1,100
Wow.
for Movember Boston, which is, we'll talk about that in a second, using Foursquare. So they raised $1,100 for charity using Foursquare last night. And I have the article up here, but it looks like what they did is they encouraged people to check in at a particular venue in association with a donation. And they had lots of people
nice.
sort of do it. They had a whole bunch of people check in, over 50 check-ins, and raised the full $1,100 that they were looking for.
That's great.
So that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. Didn't you do Movember last year?
Yeah, so Movember is this thing where you grow a mustache in November. Right?
Where's your mustache, Mike?
It's I elected to take this year off for a bunch of reasons.
It was so, I mean, you look so good with a mustache. It was really a pro.
You know, there are certain things that are good for me and certain things that are not good for me. It wasn't really kind of the right look for me, I don't think. But in any event, yes, so there's a whole bunch of folks doing it. There's a Boston team. There's teams all over the place. And Eric Vreeland, one of our producers, actually mentioned to me that you can talk about how rad a stash I'm growing if you want. And rad, I think it's one of those like good
It's a
versus
subjective
bad.
term.
It's subjective. I think it's interesting.
Eric
Is
actually
maybe the way
told
to
me
think
the other
about it,
day
yeah.
that he goes to a very highbrow Thanksgiving dinner,
Oh,
and
really?
having a mustache will help him at dinner on Thanksgiving because he'll look older, I think, more dignified.
If it's fully grown in, it might help him.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He's probably got another 3 years before it'll be fully grown in.
Fantastic. All right.
So
That'll
headlines.
teach Eric to write in things to the show. So, headlines.
So the first
do we have
one is a
first?
story about Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter is starting to roll out analytics. It's not for everyone yet. It's only for a few people.
That's right.
But it's got some interesting numbers. Things
Yeah.
like of your tweet, how many retweets did it get, how many
Click-throughs and some of the links and some other things. Just sort of basic stats about your presence on Twitter.
Basic stats that
Yeah.
some people might say they should have had a year or so ago, but you know.
Yeah.
In any case, one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that
Yeah.
a lot of the marketing stats aren't really there, but it's still interesting.
Well, I don't know. I mean, did you look at this? Do you have any thoughts
I
on
actually
this?
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I use Twitter a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously they do need analytics,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's going to take them a while to get them right.
To kind of roll it out and
Yes,
get it right.
I'm
Well,
sure.
and then the question is like, what are really the analytics that they're going to be showing you, and those are really the right numbers to watch? I mean,
Sure.
do you check any of your stats at all? Like, what do you worry about in terms of Twitter, or is it just not a critical
you only
metric
look
for
at
you?
like followers,
Yeah.
and how many, the
Yeah.
basics. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there are some tools where you can track when you put a link out there, the number of click-throughs in the link or things like
Sure.
that. And
Yep.
sometimes I look at
Bitly
those.
and things like that.
Yeah, I just, to me, if you're a marketer, what you really care about is how many people are coming to your website, how many of them are becoming leads, and then becoming sales.
Yeah.
And Twitter has no integration with your website, so it's not really telling you that. It's like, it's very, very sort of high level, sort of,
Right.
maybe some engagement metrics, those might be interesting, but to me as a marketer, it's not maybe the most important metrics I would look at.
Yep.
don't
When we've talked before is about the numbers or the conversation.
Yeah.
And that's always an interesting debate to get into. But if you're having great conversations and they're really valuable, then Twitter's worth it for you.
That's exactly right. Well, there's lots of things you can use.
Question was, what tool would you use, Mike?
Question from the audience, which I'm not sure that's happened before.
Audience
Would you like to answer that, Karen? I'll let you answer that.
Well, I personally use TweetDeck because it allows me to measure things, but that to have all the different columns, but it doesn't measure anything.
Fail.
Yeah, I don't measure my
Fail.
Twitter.
Phil, you're failing. You're failing dead. I was giving you an opportunity. So the point is, if you want to measure what really matters for social media, there's this company that has this software.
Yeah.
HubSpot. I would use
Exactly.
HubSpot.
Thanks, Karen. We'll see if your paycheck doesn't bounce next week. All right. Facebook announces this cool thing called social inbox. And we say, ha, idiots. Because HubSpot has a tool already built and on a domain called social inbox. like did Mark Zuckerberg not use the Google to figure out like what else is out there called social inbox?
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Mark Zuckerberg really wants to be Mike Volpe.
Actually, no. Mark Zuckerberg definitely does not want to be me, but he actually might want to be Dharmesh Shah.
That's true. He might want to be Dharmesh Shah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Who created social inbox, is doing a lot of work on that. So just really interesting that they sort of made that announcement when they don't have the domain, and they've been talking about it a lot. And there's another tool that kind of sort of starts to do almost the same thing and is already built.
Maybe Dharmesh has a quick get-rich-quick scheme going on here. He's going to make millions of dollars off of them trying to buy the domain.
I guess, yeah. Or maybe we can sue Facebook and then buy Facebook and merge Facebook into HubSpot. That would be awesome.
But basically, what social inbox is it tries to pull together your email and all your what's going on in your social life.
But it's not email, Karen.
It's not
Mark
email.
Zuckerberg said it's not email.
But I thought it
It's
included
not email. It's
as
a
part of
messaging
it.
system.
Oh,
it's
all
not
right.
email.
I'm sorry.
It's a messaging system.
I thought it included email as part of it.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
But
it also
he
includes
said it's not email. It's a
the
messaging
interesting
system that
thing
includes
that they're
email.
doing, and the thing that they're changing is that you really have it out for Zuckerberg today, don't you?
Google child CEO.
All right. The thing
Wrote a
that
blog
they're doing
article about
differently is that I did not see it yet. Is that
It was like a year ago.
the thing that they're doing differently for the third time is trying to, they're allowing you to organize your messaging by person instead of by medium. So right now you've got your text messages on your phone, you've got your Facebook stuff on your Facebook wall, you've got your inbox in Gmail or wherever you keep it, and what they're doing is they're trying to pull that together and allowing you to organize it by who you're receiving the information from.
Kind
so
of a cool
maybe
concept.
like Mike's really low priority on my list and he's at the bottom of my social inbox, but other people are higher up and I pay more attention to all of the information I get from them.
I'm higher up, I think.
Exactly.
That's right. There you go.
Clearly.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, I think what's interesting about this is it hasn't launched yet. You can like request access, and then I haven't heard anything back. So we'll see when we actually get to play with it what it's like. The concept is interesting. It's not necessarily a new concept. People have been talking about this concept for a while. But I do think what it sort of says for marketers is you need to start to think more about the evolution of the database. Okay. So back with in the days of the Sears and Roebuck catalog, you had a mail list and you would send people catalogs. And then the phone came out and you would add phone numbers to that database. And then email came out, you added an email list to that database. You should start to think about your social media contacts, the people that follow your company on Twitter, that are fans of your Facebook page, that follow your company on LinkedIn, as part of that database. And because those are other ways to reach out to them. And you're going to need to figure out over time how, when you're sending a message to someone, do you not send it to them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and email? Because it's going to show up 4 times in their box and look like spam, right? Yeah. So you need to start to think about those things and maybe start to have some software to start to manage it and things like that. So I think it's one of those where the tools are maybe not caught up with the vision yet, but it'll be interesting to see how that develops over time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too. You're right, Mike. And which of those 4 is the best way to contact them?
And it probably depends on the person, right?
It really
so it's
does.
Going to be a
it depends on the
preferences.
individual. Each individual is going to have their own preference.
Right, and we've talked about that before. In reality, you need to communicate with your leads and customers the way they want to be communicated with, not the way that you want to communicate with them. And there's an important dynamic shift there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The other thing to think about too is that the ordering of the messages is going to be based on your interest in the company. So think about if Facebook understands email and what you like on Facebook. Imagine if you get an email from a company that you're also a fan of on Facebook. Is that going to show up higher in your inbox? I think so. So the things you should be doing today as a company, acquiring more fans on Facebook, more more followers on Twitter, those types of things, because that will help eventually your email actually get through more often.
Yep, absolutely. So marketing takeaway here is to make sure that your email is engaging and think about your contacts holistically. It's like Mike's saying, it's not just about email addresses anymore. You've got to start thinking one step ahead.
That's right.
You know what? We forgot the marketing takeaway and Twitter rolls out analytics.
It's not that important.
All right. Moving on.
And that is the marketing takeaway. It's also not that important. See?
Oh, you're so
All right,
smart.
marketing decisions, reactive or strategic? I thought this was interesting.
This was really interesting. It was data that came from e-consultancy that showed that 56% of small businesses make decisions based on reacting to the competition, where only 45% of large companies make decisions based on reacting to competition. So small companies, they react to their competition more than large companies. Is that a problem?
I really think you should watch your competitors, but don't necessarily react to them. You've got to be different. You've got to differentiate yourself in the market. That's my thought.
I agree, and we've talked about that before too. If you're just always following someone else, you're never kind of standing out, showing that your spots are different.
So true, and I think our experience, we work with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses. We have 3,500 customers here at HubSpot, and I've personally probably talked to couple thousand marketers over the past couple years. The ones at the smaller companies have this odd obsession with their competition. And I thought it was interesting that this data was pointing out that the smaller companies very much sort of follow the competition a lot, are very reactive to it. I don't necessarily think that's a wise idea. I agree. You really, really need to be a bit different. If you're doing all the same things as your competition, you're doing a great job at always staying in second place.
Yeah, that's very true. So the marketing takeaway here is don't overreact to the competition. Keep your long-term strategy in mind. That's really important.
This one was really cool because I am such a fashionista.
This story is
Google,
just cool.
they launched a new fashion site.
They launched a fashion website.
A whole fashion website.
And it doesn't even have Google in the name. It's called boutiques.com. And basically, it's an interesting play for them. It really is. I feel like this is a little bit like their next Wave attempt. Remember they had Google Wave and they stopped Google Wave and it didn't really work. And I feel like this is their next shot at trying to figure out that whole social media sphere, which they have not really successfully figured out yet.
Yeah.
Well, you want to tell about the site?
Well, it has an interesting combination of a bunch of different technologies, and some that Google's good at, some maybe not. The first thing is they bought like.com, if you remember that site. It was basically a visual search engine, and you could upload something and it would find other things that looked like that. They incorporated that technology with some social technology, so you can actually have individuals like Karen could have the Karen Rubin Boutique.
If Karen had any sense of fashion, she
That's
might.
right. You could still have the boutique. It just might not get a lot of traffic if the fashion wasn't good. And they have like celebrities who have done it and fashion bloggers who have done it and all sorts of things like that, combined with this like sort of looks like kind of functionality. So you can be clicking on an individual item and it will show you other things that are similar to it just from around the web, which is kind of cool. The other thing it does is you can actually go through and set up your own boutique, and I actually did this. It was a little odd for me.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I think the algorithm started to get a little confused because all I was doing is clicking on the model that I felt was more attractive because I didn't feel like I could actually judge the outfits. But I did actually, at the end of the day, they assigned me to a category that was like something like chic bohemian or something like that. I can't remember. So in any event,
you are a chic bohemian, Mike.
I wouldn't exactly say that, but maybe I am. I don't know. But they put you into like one of a whole bunch of categories based on your individual preferences. But it was all very visual. It's like you're clicking on the things that you prefer out of these pairs of different fashion items. So the whole thing is very, very interesting. And it's sort of that next. We talked about Google Goggles a few weeks ago and using visual things for search. So taking a photo and searching based on that photo.
Yeah.
This is starting to incorporate some of that type of technology. And it could be that sort of visual search is maybe Google's next big thing. Maybe they don't need to worry too much about the whole social media thing. Maybe they go into visual search more.
But this is still taking social media to another level.
It is.
I mean, they have the social elements in there, being able to create your boutique and sharing it with people and interacting with other people's boutiques. I think they're just trying something different that is more to their strengths than some of the other attempts they've made, which, I mean, I give 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Know what you do right and go after that.
Yeah.
Sure. I also think a takeaway from what you were talking about with Google Goggles and everything, we're moving more and more away from a text-driven world to more images and video. And I think marketers need to think about that, of not just having text everywhere, but actually start communicating more in video and images and mix it up.
Yeah.
It's true. I regularly talk about my dad on the show. Give him a little free publicity, but also because I'm close to it. He makes kinetic sculptures, and they're very visual. And when he first started his website, he could only put pictures up there. Like, video hadn't really gone to where it is today.
Sure.
And we're currently working to redesign his site because he had things like 3 bullet points on his homepage that tried to describe the motion, which really, they're just not that necessary now that there's a big video there showing you exactly what it does. And so he's rethinking his entire website with the idea that now you can show so much more on your website. It can be a much more visual thing than it has been able to be in the past. And there's a lot of interesting things to think about with that in mind.
Agree.
It's also cool because Google, takes the images and they bring up an image search, and then the videos, they come up in video search. And so when someone searches for you on Google, if you show up as the first result and in the images and in the videos, you even make a stronger impression.
Well, I think what it's going to lead to in the future is something sort of around like SEO for images, which
Yes.
there has been some people working on a little bit, but it's going to be more and more important in the future as there's more of that and there's all
And
sorts
for
of things.
video.
And for video.
We
We
have
did a
blogs,
webinar on this, and we wrote a blog article about it. So anyway, the marketing takeaway here is think about new ways for your buyers to interact with your company, products, and services. Maybe images, maybe videos, those types of things. What?
You know, we've had a long week. It's been a long week at HubSpot, which means that at 8 a.m. this morning, Mike was running around looking for the office for me, and I was out on a run in Somerville. And so he was trying to figure out what we were going to do for a script, and I was not, here. And so Mike wrote the script, which means he forgot the marketing tip of the week.
No, I didn't.
It's really interesting being, the
He
VP
hand-wrote
of
it on
marketing.
his
I
sheet.
didn't.
Did
I
you?
wrote it. I wrote it right here.
Oh, all right.
And I told, hang on, we're not there yet though.
Yeah.
And I told Jeff that he was going to have to come up with it. I
Oh,
gave him a
well
warning,
done.
so
Okay,
I'm
okay.
on top of things
You
here.
are.
I did want to point out one tweet that I thought was hilarious, because most of her tweets are hilarious, but from Sam Corrin. She says that I've never, and this is apologies to our guests in advance, I've never seen this many people at HubSpot wearing suits. It's unsettling. So,
Sam's at the back there
Yeah.
supporting
Yeah.
the Eagles.
totally. Big time. And somebody else says, actually, this is JFC3 says they need more suits. That HubSpot event. God, everybody's in with the suits today. God, they're never going to come back. These are our esteemed guests, all the way down from upstate New York. It's already snowing up there, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
that's scary. You're
Yeah.
all welcome.
They have a really nice
whatever
golf.
state of dress you want to be in.
That's right. Everyone's welcome. We are, They have a great golf course up there, actually.
Be quiet. Jeff, what's the marketing tip of the week?
My marketing tip of the week is think different. I'm going to borrow that Apple logo, and I'm going to say stop following your competitors, start using video, images, just differentiate yourself from all your competitors. That's my marketing tip
I
of
think
the
that's a
week.
great marketing tip
I
of the
love
week.
it. What are you up to this weekend, Jeff?
Tomorrow's my birthday.
Oh, no way.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Fantastic.
and my alma mater, Notre Dame, plays Army at Yankee Stadium.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that should be fun.
Are you going to
going?
go?
I'm
No?
actually not
Yeah,
going.
okay.
I am a Notre Dame alum,
Yeah.
but I'm not going. But
Okay.
I'll be glued to the television.
Okay,
that's
cool.
for sure.
That's
Awesome.
That's a
That's
big
cool.
one. What about you?
I am lots of different things this weekend, but I'm headed to the Pats Colts game on
You're
Sunday.
going?
Oh.
I'm going. It's going to be cold, but it's going to be
Dress
fun.
warm.
It's going to be
Yep.
sunny at least? Or no?
No, it's 4:00 game,
Oh.
so pretty much sunset this time of year
Yeah.
is about 4:20.
Yeah. My cousin is 16, and she is coming to visit me, and we're going to look at colleges this weekend. So I'm doing tours at Bentley and Tufts, and we're going to head out to BC and walk around that.
$5 says they think you're applying to college.
I know. So I've done this actually. This is the second time I've done this with one of my cousins, and my deal is they pick a weekend. They can come to Boston and tell me what schools they want to go to, and I'll deal with all the logistics of getting them to tours and that whole thing. But when you sign up for tours at colleges, they make you fill out a form with all your information on it. I do not want to get on these lists because the last thing I need to be doing is getting information from Bentley about their undergraduate program. And so my approach is I call them, and then they try to get all my information over the phone, and it's a poor student, and they're probably 18 years old, and I'm like, I'm not going to give you my address. I am not applying to college. I'm trying to set this up for my cousin, and she can fill out the form when she gets there, but I'm not giving you my address. And there's always this debate back and forth, and they generally let us in anyway.
I have a 17-year-old son. We get a lot of mail
Yes.
from colleges. A lot.
I actually remember that. It's an exciting time. It's like the first time in your life you get mail. You're like, woohoo! Or I was excited about that. I lived in the country. Mail was exciting. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great week and a happy Thanksgiving if we don't see you first. Great show. Thank you so much for joining us.